Thank you, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Spoiler Cast, Penguin Cast, where we are breaking down our thoughts and reactions to the seventh episode of the Penguin, Top Hat. This is a spoiler review, obviously, because everyone just saw it, so yay! I am your host, Dana Abercrombie. I'm an entertainment editor. I am joined by Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good, Dana. What's up, listeners and viewers?
And I am also joined by Mr. Danny Martinez. How are you?
Hello, thanks for having me again. I'm good.
Yeah, everyone is good. That's great. So then let's just kind of discuss everything that happened. I want to know immediately what were your main reactions to this 45-minute? It was shortened. I thought it was going to get a little bit more. 45-minute episode. Danny.
Yeah, that was very abrupt ending. But show overall, I'm excited. Like that climax is getting better and better. So like I'm excited for where it's going. So I was excited for what was gonna happen. Overall, still really good episode. Just wasn't happy with the ending, but very, very, very good stakes are being shown now.
So what about you, Mr. Bailey Jr.?
I agree 100%. I thought the episode was outstanding. There's a couple of surprise reactions that I was laughing about in that episode, but no, I thought it was a great episode.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. Once again, it was a great episode, but I was thoroughly let down. I also have to probably say that there was some lazy writing going on. I was really taken aback by that, but we'll get into that. But I kind of felt that there was a really lazy part of writing. We're also dealing with another character where I just don't know why are you here. I don't know if you're meant just to be a grounding force, but you're not really doing anything. And then we had like the disappearance of Vic. Vic was like, peace out, and he got knocked out, came to, he went to go do something. We don't know where he's at, but I guess that was a good thing because he might have maybe died if he was say with the Penguin, because a lot of things did happen and go on. So we got to start off really first by the big main revelation. I feel like each episode there's a revelation and it gives you that juicy backstory and it's not what you think it's going to be. So here we have the origin story of how Penguin, I don't know, this is a really good question of what creates evil, but the Penguin and his brothers, Oz, and we have Frank, and we have, what was the other one? I forgot the other one's name. Oh no, I wrote it down. But there was Benny, Jack, and Oswald. Sorry. Benny, Jack, and Oswald, 15, 10 years old. And we don't really know what Penguin's age is around here, but I think he is probably the middle child. Is he the youngest? I think he's the youngest.
He's the youngest, I think. That's what I got off of it.
And yeah, and we clearly see he is a mama's boy. He is up under his mama to the point where I think, it may just be me, we'll get discussions as well. He is jealous of his brothers anytime they get his mother's attention. Anytime there seems to be like, hey, something positive. Hey, son, you're doing really great in school. Anything simple as that, he seems to have hate in his eyes when he is looking at his brothers. And so we finally found out what happened. Remember, they were lost to the city, was how adult Oz explained it. But in actuality, it was basically murder. I would say attempt. It was straight up, I don't know, first degree, maybe second degree, but it was definitely a murder charge in there where he led his brothers into the tunnel. They were playing hide and seek and they went down into further the part of the tunnel and he locked the door and knowing that the rain was going to come and the rainwater, they essentially drowned there. Unless something magically happens in the final episode, which I doubt and I really don't want, they're dead. And he knew it. And he kept looking outside that window and like nothing was there. It was pure psychopathic behavior. So what were your reactions to that big scene that kind of explained a lot? Richard.
Well, I think the backstory was needed. In the previous episode, they had the photo of him and his brothers. And I was wondering if they were ever going to elaborate on that further. So they took about, I want to say, the first 15 minutes of the episode, 10, 15 minutes of the episode to dive into that story. Yeah, I mean, what I got out of it is he was jealous of the attention and love that his brothers was getting from his mom when he wanted to be the one to get all of that. And of course, when that happened, he made that decision to take care of them. Similar to the decision he made when this show started with Sophia's brother. Just the impulse of the reaction because he felt disrespected. So he reacted on that. And that's exactly what they said. It's the same thing that the director said in the interview after the show. That was what they were going for. So I think they nailed that 100%. Wasn't too surprised about it because they told us this guy is a monster. So we needed to see him do stuff to make him worthy of that title.
Danny, thoughts, Danny?
Pretty much the same idea. When we heard about his siblings, the city took him and everything. I always thought in the back of my head, in order to make him more of a monster, I think they should have made it that Oswald, killed his brothers for whatever reason. Although I don't think he did it on purpose. Yes, he's jealous and he's impulsive. I think him as a child, he was just being impulsive and angry, playing on his emotions as he did with like the brother Falcone, or killing anybody pretty much that makes fun of him. So he was just as a child being impulsive, and he accidentally killed them, but he's still a monster nonetheless because he lied to his mom and he covered it up. He didn't say anything about it, and he was kind of not really. He didn't feel guilty about it. He just wanted his mother all to himself. So in the end, he's still a monster for it.
Sir, accidentally killed him?
Because you see,
would have been like, I'm closing the door and I can't get the door back open. No, and I'm trying desperately to save you.
Because he shuts the door angrily. He's like, "Oh, I like to see you get out of that." And I think in the like, I even me as a kid, I'm putting myself as a kid's shoes. Like, you don't think about, oh, they're gonna be trapped there forever and they're gonna drown. Like, I think he just thought that he was leaving them high and dry and they're going to struggle to get out. But eventually they were going to get out and just make it home really late and wet and piss off the mom. But like, they ended up drowning. That's not something you could plan in a something that's going on like that. They were playing flashlight tag. Like, they were just trying to have some fun.
You cannot make that argument because he watched the window. He knew it was raining. And not once was he concerned because she kept bringing up, where are your brothers? He wasn't concerned about the brothers at all. He just kept looking out that window. And you could tell by, remember how there was like a glass something outside that kept overflowing that was supposed to be symbolic of the flood? And he's just like, me and mommy.
But that's still the point. That's still the point that I'm trying to make, is that I don't think he had it planned, but after the fact, he's looking out the window. And he's just like, oh, well, I guess it's just me and mom now. And he just doesn't care. But I still don't think it was planned out. I don't think he did it on purpose.
He may not have planned out, hey, today is the day I'm going to kill my brothers. Woohoo! Yeah. But he is still at fault for not saying anything.
Oh, yeah.
Hours went by. They're sitting there watching the Top Cat and the hat, and everybody's all wee, and nothing. He's just all cuddled up like, hey. And then you're going to tell me days later goes by, I don't know what happened to my brothers.
That's why he's still the monster.
The city took him. Yep. Which technically is not a lie. The city did take him, but he was the one who shut the gate to make them take him. Yeah. So then my question for both of you then is, we see this, we've always called, and this is kind of where I owe you an apology, Danny, because you said, no, he's always been evil. You cannot trust him. And I was like, oh, maybe we should absolve him of his sins. It's okay. He's just hurt. No, he's a demon after this whole episode. So my question for both of you is, we see this weird relationship that's further reiterated by the mother saying, basically, tell me that you're going to provide for me and tell me that we're going to have a good life. He puts this on a child, which is the youngest, by the way, that was basically, saying, you know, you are the one who's now in charge, and your life is now determined by how happy you make me, and how you give me the life that I think that I deserve. Not even I think I deserve. This was all like a proclamation. So then my question then for both of you, we always said that he was a mother's boy, but when do you think that who was at fault at first? Is it the mother for basically enabling his mother's boy tendency, or was it him for always trying to, give his mother the best and be that mama's boy? There was no one that ever cut it off. So where do you think that cycle begins? Who is at fault? Richard? Can Richard hear? Oh.
Can you hear
I
me?
thought she called Richard. Okay. Yeah, we hear you. You're muted again.
I think Richard is having technical difficulties. We'll go to you, Dan.
Yeah. So yes, I think I blame. Oh God, that's really hard to say because I mean Oswald was a monster before his mom even started influencing, because you see what he did with his brothers. But I think the mom enabled the behavior. She allowed the behavior to build and develop into what he is now, in order for her to get what she wants. So I guess you can say you blame the mom, because the mom still had a choice. She could have tried to make Oswald a better person, and she could have just tried her best to just be a mom and be there, and financially, physically, mentally, everything. But she chose to just put everything onto Oswald, all the pressure onto Oswald. And that's where you see that. And Sophia kind of hinted at that anyways, because she said, look at Oswald. Where do you think he learned that stuff? He's a monster for a reason. So I forget the mom's name, but like she denies it, but it's clear by that one scene that she put all of that, the weight on the world, on kid Oswald's shoulders. So that's where it starts.
What about you, Richard? Did you?
Yeah, sorry about that. I guess I muted the tab by accident. Yeah, it's Firefox. To answer the question, I think Danny made some good points. The mom did enable him to do this stuff. I also have to say that, well, yeah, he is the one that really wants all the attention. They had that scene where he was the one that was supposed to spend time with his mom while she was working, and then the other two brothers come in there. You see how he's looking at their interactions with her. So clearly, this is an ongoing issue of him. And, obviously, I have a younger brother. It's never really been about a competition, between us. But I guess that does exist in certain families. So I kind of feel like this has been an ongoing issue for quite some time. Now, I will say this. I was waiting for us to get a scene of his mom actually finding out what really happened to her other two sons. And I guess didn't even ask the question. A day goes by, days go by. They never went back to that. So she just assumed that they disappeared and there was not really any real reaction. We obviously saw when Sophia was talking with her, then she had flashbacks of that moment, but we didn't really get any of that prior to that. So I was waiting for that scene. So I do think that was a missed opportunity. But maybe it's a little bit of both of their faults, to answer your question, Dana.
Yeah, I kind of feel that it's both of their faults. I think one feeds into the other. And there is kind of a sickness in Norman. It very much reminded me of Norman Bates. How much he loved his mother, and goodness gracious. But another thing that I did want to add to that was that he lied. So you could probably argue, I don't know if this boy was really plotting. But remember, he lied to his mother and said, oh, the brothers went to a movie. And that's when she was like, well, how did they get money for a movie? He again continued to lie. And in the midst of that, like, dementia phase that she went through, where she went back in time there, I think she knew. She may not have known that, hey, he purposely killed his brothers, but she knew that they were dead. And it was just odd to me that we would never get like a follow up of, hey, what happened to your brothers? I would have loved to have known. Yeah.
Since you bring that up, that's a question for the both of you then. Do you think that she put all of that pressure on child Oswald because she knew what he did, so he owes her now?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, and it would appear to be that is what it is. Yeah, yeah, I think what you said, it makes sense. But I wish they could have acknowledged that better, that she actually knew that he did that. Because again, it's just that she's like, okay, well, you're going to do all this for me. I want all this. I deserve everything. That was a kind of a weird interaction that they had at the club at the end. And I was kind of like, yeah, okay. So she probably knew, mother's intuition, I guess you could say. But I wish that they would have acknowledged that a little bit better for everybody to understand. But that's a good point.
Yeah, no, that's actually a great point. And here's the thing. When Sophia was questioning the mother and she's like, do you know what happened? You know, how come they never came home? What really happened to them? What's going on? Who took them? And she went back into that mind of all those years ago. I'm wondering if it triggered her because she kind of did know.
Mm.
I don't know what triggers, what makes her go into that dementia. And it's dementia now because we had that little after thing. We're like, if anyone's suffering from dementia, please call. So we don't know what triggered the dementia spell. But the fact that she kept asking, hey, do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Could have stated that she did know. And what thing is that they didn't explain how much time passed. Because remember when the mother went back in the room and was like, I made you breakfast, Ma. And she didn't come out. And then later on, she came out and she was all dressed up. And they went to that club. Where I'm like, why are you taking your kid to a club? I wonder one of two things. Is it, as you stated, you have to be the man now because you basically, your brothers are not here. You probably killed them. But I'm also wondering if she always put that burden on him because we don't have a Daddy Oswald. He's not there. And they never addressed that he was not in the picture. They never said he died or was a gangster or anything, at least to my recollection. So I'm wondering if she always placed that on him from the beginning once the father either died, walked out, or whatever. And I was like, you're now man of the house. And then why the boy and not say the oldest? Because usually that ends up being the burden of the oldest kid. Is you have to look out, you look for your brothers, make sure they're okay, and they have to step up and be the man of the house. So I'm wondering why did she choose him as opposed to the other two? So I don't know, but that was a fascinating opening, by the way. But then kind of moving on from that, we get the Sophia basically has a witness, and we all knew who the witness was, and this goes back to like my statement of either kill Bill or kill the child, respectfully. Do you think the witness later on could be a problem if Sophia lives through this entire one more episode left? Because she did say to her, I did kill basically, I killed them. They were all bad people. You're better off as you are now, and I promise you'll get out of here. And the place that they had her in was like, I thought it was Arkham Asylum. It was terrible. So, do you feel that this child could be a problem later on? Do you think that she's going to keep continuing to talk and therefore the investigators could be on Sophia's case?
I think she's a child and no one's really going to believe her until, or maybe, she finds the right one that will believe her because they know that child was connected to the Falcone family. So maybe they're just trying to find something on Sophia. It can go quite a few ways. I think if Sophia, because my prediction is Sophia will probably live at the end of this series or this season, because they'll still need they'll still need an antagonist. unless they just come up with somebody new. But Sophia and that little girl is a really good character development tool for Sophia to keep her grounded and remind her of the person that she used to be, regardless of how much trouble the little girl is. So I think the little girl will probably be trouble, and Sophia will be conflicted on whether she should do something or not, especially because we had that scene with her in the room and she's harming herself now. And I think Sophia's like, oh my God, I just turned this little girl into those women that I was trying to protect, back in the day. And you see how it affected her when she got out the room. So it's going to be a problem in many ways, not just to get her in trouble and back in jail, but mentally as well.
Richard?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Danny said. I think it's great to have the little girl help to be a character development for Sophia. I personally believe, and I guess I could say that I know for a fact Sophia will not die in the next episode, because there have been reports saying that she has a role in the next Batman movie. So I would like to know what that actually entails. Obviously, the Penguin, this show was really about the Penguin establishing, after the fact that he was basically working under everybody else in the previous movie. This show is basically built to show him his rise to, to the Penguin that we all know and despise. And obviously, I think he is also going to be in this next movie. But I feel like, yeah, Sophia, they spent a lot of time developing that character throughout this entire show. So I kind of feel like while it would appear as though you can just have Penguin take her out in the next episode, I don't think that's the long-term plan. Now, we'll have to wait and see what they do, but I'm pretty sure that she's going to be in the next movie. But we'll have to wait and see.
Here's the thing, I don't know if I want her in a movie.
What?
I think I would like her if she just stays in her, like, if we get a season 2, give me that. I don't think I want her in a movie, because she has such a strong little side story going on and her origin story that I just think would be stronger in TV format, so we can get more of that and flesh more of that out. I don't know where else you can go from here, even if, for example, she does successfully kill the mother or Penguin. We don't know what's going to happen at the end of Batman 2. We don't know. They could circle. It could be Batman 2, and then they circle around for another episode, and then they kill him off. The next thing we know is the Gigante story. I don't know. But I just feel that she is just better off in a TV series, also because we get more of her acting, and she's just amazing. So that's what I would like. But I did love that part where she was in the hallway and she broke down. And then, in a way, as you kind of alluded to, Danny, she becomes the Hangman. Something that she doesn't want, she actually does become. And that's really interesting, and knowing what that girl's story is going to be. Because we've seen with Gotham, it's really hard to make it out. And I don't know if that girl is going to make it out. And remember, right before Sophia went into that room, she saw the image of the other woman who tried to kill her when she was in Arkham. So I'm just wondering, you could say one of two things. You could say, yes, she's having the PTSD, she's seeing the girl and that whole room brings back memories. Or you could argue that could be the fate of that girl. Because at the end, remember, she kept saying, kill me, I want to die. And then we see the little girl cutting herself. So that, to me, I thought was very strong and powerful. But I don't know if that girl's going to make it. I hope it does. So then, kind of moving on with that, we have to get to, we had death in this episode. I thought it was completely lazy writing. But we had a death in this episode where we had the big confrontation between Salvatore and Penguin, after, Sophia and Salvatore thought they got the upper hand with this episode before the big kind of explosion. Thought they got the upper hand. They took out some of their guys. Bruno is still alive. I thought Bruno died, by the way. I was like, oh no, a black guy. But it was another black guy. It wasn't Bruno. So Bruno is still alive, but they took out everyone. And then they ended up into Bruno was the one who pulled the light switch, who caused the lights to go out. So yay on Bruno. And this is when we had that, beat down fight. And then in the middle of the fight, Salvatore got a heart attack and died. I'm sorry. This was the worst way to end a character that I think was it was terrible. It was worse than The Wire when we were supposed to get our Omar showdown. This was just god awful. I am sorry. You're trying to go for realisticness? Great. But this was lazy. I felt. I wanted my showdown. Even Penguin was disgusted. He was like, what in the this man was like, pulling up. He gets really good Al Pacino. He reminds me of Al Pacino when he starts making those weird faces. But he was just completely, where's that in? Oh my God. Yeah, so what were your thoughts? Because I hated it. Danny.
I hated it too. I think it is lazy writing, but so here's the thing, because I'm conflicted about it. I think what they were trying to go for was that the Penguin was supposed to be pissed off and he didn't get the closure of like winning and beating Salvatore. Like Salvatore just ended up getting the heart attack, and it wasn't the Penguin that did it. It wasn't Oswald that did it. But the problem with that was they didn't continue on that theme. Like he was just he briefly like what the hell just happened? Like seriously, this is how it ends. And then afterwards he still pumped himself up and he still was just like, I still win. I still won. And he, gives him a couple shots while he's still down and stuff, but he's still so full of himself, full of bravado and stuff for beating him. So I think that whole idea of not giving Oswald what he wanted died, because Oswald was like, I still win. I'm still happy. I'm still the man. Now Sophia's next. And that was it. So that whole moment was just flat and just lazy afterwards.
Richard.
Well, those are some great points by both Danny and yourself, Dana, but I disagree. I thought that was very entertaining because it was unexpected. Now, obviously, you saw Sal get stabbed up in a previous episode. I kind of think it's ridiculous for a guy that old to hold his own in a fight with Penguin. So I laughed when I saw that. And I personally, I feel he didn't have the heart to get the job done. So there you go. Heart attack. That's it. But I can understand, but the reason why I say that though is because again, the real fight is between Sophia and Penguin. This is a side character. This guy, we've seen him throughout the season. You've seen him in jail. And of course, obviously, he did get a little physical with Penguin. He needed to, because Penguin took out his wife and his kid. So it made sense that he had to get some physicality in on him. But I think to end it the way that they did, and again, with the fact that Penguin did not get the satisfaction of taking the guy out, that does fall in line with the fact of him wanting all this stuff to happen. And this entire season, there are certain things that he is want to have to happen a certain way. It didn't go the way that he intended. So that's why I said, okay, well, but I was entertained. This is what I was laughing about before Dana started recording. As soon as I came in the room, I was laughing because I was still thinking about that scene. I thought it was hilarious. But I could understand the criticism of it. I just like, this guy is not the real bad guy that Penguin has to deal with. Penguin is bad as well, but it's really between Penguin and Sophia. This guy is a side character. So great actor though. He's been in a lot of great movies. He also was in Detroit Become Human. He was in that game as well. So yeah, great actor. But hey, I don't know. We'll see.
I gotta say real quick, like, because you mentioned that, and that was something I needed to bring up. I freaking love Clancy Brown so much, and he does so many great, not just live action characters, but he does a lot of voice acting. Like the dude is Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. Like everybody knows Mr. Krabs, but Dana didn't know. Yeah, but what upsets me is that Clancy was doing such a good job as Salvatore. I was honestly hoping that he would survive as well, because he just does a good job with everything that he does. And when you were talking about the character and him dying, and then he's a side character. It makes me upset that Clancy Brown never really lasts in a series of anything. Like he's always a temporary character. He's a good character, but it's always like he dies in a season or two or something like that, or like the show gets canceled. Because I think the first show that I really loved him at was Carnival, and it was a canceled show after 2 or 3 seasons. It was on HBO as well, like in like the mid 2000s, and it was amazing. And that got canceled, and it's just I want more Clancy, and I want him to like stick around more. I just wish he did.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
And the point that I was going to add is, he also was in that Dexter show, the most recent Dexter show. Again, a great role, but obviously he got taken out, and very interesting. And it doesn't matter now because Dexter's still alive. So
I'm still caught up on him being Mr. Krabs, because like that's insane. to see him go from like Salvatore to Mr. Krabs.
Money.
I have to like watch video. I'm speechless. But yeah, I still hated that scene. I hated that scene so much. I'm so sorry. And then it goes to the whole thing. Then it goes back to the question with the brother. You see the repeated behavior of Penguin, where he's like, the dude is dead. He's like, I'm dead. Right? He's like dead and dying. And he goes, I win. I'm wondering, when he put those brothers and locked that door in that tunnel and knew it was raining and flooding, was he like, haha, I won. You're dead now. Mommy, all to myself. I can't stop thinking about it. The dude is a psychopath. There is no redeeming quality to him at all after seeing this. But so this was absolutely terrible part that I'm sorry, I didn't like. And then the dude's upset that he died. So it was all right, bye. So then kind of going after that, we get the whole kind of monologue spiel from Sophia talking to Julian, Theo Rossi, who I think is just another wasted character. Sorry. Basically saying that she ends up in a panic attack, and how much he needs to, basically needs for him to suffer, and that she has to get him back. And she needs him to play a larger role. And I'm like, what is he gonna do? And he's like, just a transporter. But anyway, the whole point is that he has to suffer. And so, Vic is still missing, but it seems like Sophia has the mom. Sophia's working with Theo as well, Julian. And they're going to do an exchange. Now, this was to me, it reminded me of, what's that movie? What's in the box? The Box, that movie.
Seven?
The movie with the box. Seven. It reminded me of Seven. Because here they were supposed to do the exchange, her driving in. He was going to, obviously kill her at the end when they made sure they locked the gates. But it was just a car that somebody drove in and then ran out. We don't know what happened to that person. They ran out, but it was a switcheroo. She was already outside, and the mom was moved to a different location. And instead of what we thought, at least me speaking, I thought it was the mom, because I saw like some red feathery stuff, and I was like, oh no, it's the mom's, either her hair or dress, something, and she's dead. And Penguin is looking like, well, she's dead too. And they did a really great job, I feel, with the suspense, where I was waiting for this to be like, what's in the box, what's going on? And he lifted that coat up, and it was actually a bomb. And it wasn't like even like a cute little bomb. This is a bomb that took out an entire city block. It took out the entire city block. He knew that it was a bomb. He didn't warn anybody else, but what did he do? He fled into the tunnels, which did once again, whole bunch of tunnels, make me think, this man is a psychopath and he purposely killed his brothers. But anyway, he flew into the tunnels, didn't tell anyone. They're obviously probably most likely dead. So what was your thoughts on that massive switcheroo? Danny.
I saw it coming. I honestly, it was predictable for me. I think they were trying to throw the curveball when it had Sophia in a car that looked like the same car and stuff, but I kind of saw it coming, because you see it done a million times in movies and things. The part where he's looking at the trunk and he's thinking it's his mom, I still saw that coming. I didn't really think it would be a bomb, but I thought it would still be another curveball because as Sophia's talking, she's saying, I've learned a couple of tricks. I've learned, I've tried this, I've tried my different faces, I tried being this person or that person, and none of it's working. So I've learned a couple of things while I was in Arkham. So I guess she's trying something different. So I assumed in my head, I was just like, okay, she didn't kill the mom. Like, she still wants to mess with Penguin. So something else is in there. Maybe another dead body. Maybe it was Vic, but I didn't think that. But it could have been anything else. But yeah, I found it funny also that once it was revealed there was a bomb, he just ran and didn't even, at the very least, just run and say, it's a bomb, run. Like, he didn't say shit. Like, he just ran to the hatch and saved himself, and that's it. Like, he's probably gonna piss off the rest of his crew at this point because they're risking their lives for nothing. And I'm assuming this is why Vic is going to save the day in the last episode, because he has disappeared for a while. He's going to come back with the other groups. What was it? The golden whatever was the episode called?
Yeah, it was the Hispanics, the Asians,
the triads,
the triads. Was there some black people in there?
Yeah,
some Latinos.
Yeah, he'll come back and save the
basically.
day. He's gonna show up with the army that Oswald asked for at the end of that season, I'm sure.
Richard?
Yeah, well, once again, I'm going to say the Penguin is supposed to be a monster in this show. So I also did laugh when I saw him run, didn't warn the people working for him. And I think that was expected when that happened, because at that moment, he's just thinking about, I need to save myself. But I also would say that it was a bold move because the whole base of operations that's done and over with. And I thought the thing is that Sophia wanted to get her hands on the product as well. Well, now that shows you I don't care about the product. I want to get rid of you. So clearly that's what the intent was with that move, because by taking out all those people, yeah, that's what her angle is at the moment. They definitely did try to misdirect to make you think it could have been the mom, but we knew that. And then of course, the thing is, when she was going to do this meetup, Dana's favorite actor, Theo Rossi, is talking to Sophia saying, hey, this is a trap, right? So yeah, that's great. I thought that was very good. So, but yeah, you made the comment, if he still has any crew left. I mean, that's what we should be asking, because I would assume that most of them perished in that explosion, but we'll find out next week.
Yeah, no, and then another good thing is that she said, she learned from Arkham. Aside from that incident, we have one more episode left. Do you think that there is something that we could, going back, looking at the previous episode of when she was in Arkham, could come into play in the finale?
What do you mean? Like what?
I don't know. She said she learned from Arkham. So any of the tricks that she kind of learned from.
I think she was just alluding to just that she learned from Arkham to be a little bit more unpredictable, to not follow what everyone else has been telling her to do or follow or be or whatever it might be, her entire time growing up. So I think Arkham has she's saying Arkham has developed her into somebody else, somebody that is a bit more unpredictable. So I think that's pretty much all she really meant by that. That's my opinion.
Okay, Dirk, anything to add, Richard?
Yeah, no, I think the same thing. She just learns to be less predictable, change up her strategy. And of course, they thought she was crazy. So now she is going to use that to her advantage and do whatever she wants to do to get back at Penguin. So it makes sense.
Oh, snap. One thing really quickly I wanted to jump up, because before we kind of wrap it up, is when Danny brought up the fact that he was a monster character. My question is this: is Penguin truly a monster, aside from what he did to his brothers? Or is he technically someone who got lucky? Even if you was to go look at the brothers, it wasn't like he purposely, he closed the door and locked it. That's something he was able to do. With Sophia, it was like, the continued lie. That was something he was able to do. Um, but when you come to actually having to, even with the brother from the very first episode, it was more of him reacting out of anger. Do you feel that he can truly become a monster, or is it more just a matter of convenience? Because even Salvatore had the upper hand until Bruno touched the wire and the whole thing, the electricity went out.
Um,
Anyone?
I think it's a mix of both. He still manipulates very well, and he can think under pressure. He can think on a dime. If anything happens that he didn't plan on happening, he's very good at thinking his way out of things. I mean, the dude was buck naked on a chair, and he was about to die in what, the second, third episode, and he still managed to get out because of just pure dumb luck, thanks to Vic. Uh, but like it just seems like every time he puts himself in a hole because of his plans and things don't go exactly the way he wants, he still finds a way to get out. And I think a part of it plays a bit of luck, but he still knows what he's doing. And the funny thing is that even when things go awry and he survives, he still acts like the whole thing was his plan, which is hilarious to me. Like he's like, "Oh yeah, that's what I meant to do," kind of thing.
Richard?
Yeah, no, that's exactly the same type of vibe that I get from the character as well. It is a little bit of luck because of all the situations he's been in this season. But I will say this: in that next episode, that finale episode, by the end of that episode, we should see a totally different Penguin than what we have seen when this show started. Because the whole thing is that he had this plan to orchestrate, and even when it started in the beginning, when he decided to kill Sophia's brother, because he was making fun of him, like, "Oh, you really think you're going to do this? You're going to take over and all this other stuff." So I would like to see by the end of this show, I want to see this character, because now he's going to be very intentional with everything that he does moving forward. So I do want to see where he ends up in the finale. But yeah, I would say he's a monster because I'm a fan of the Batman. So I'm not going to say that the villains are, great people that we need to, no, he's a monster. And Dana, for sure he's a monster after what he did to his brothers in this episode.
He's a demon. That's a whole demon. So then, kind of wrapping up, what are your thoughts on the finale? The trailer, rightfully so, didn't allude to much aside from a shootout. So and Vic getting punched up in the stomach.
Oh yeah, I thought the trailer was great. I mean, it actually was a little bit longer than the trailers we typically see for Power. So I will give them credit. First and foremost, you had the flashbacks of him as a kid. There's probably going to be more of to the past and them being in that club. We do know that I believe the Penguin does have a club, right? In the cartoon, he had a club too, the Iceberg Lounge. Mm-hmm. So maybe that is something that the reason why they're showing he's in that club for a reason. Yeah, there's a lot of things in there. Obviously, yeah, the shootout between him and Sophia, but I don't know what else that I was able to pull from that trailer from what I saw. So a lot of questions. But I will say this, that episode better be longer than 45 minutes. All right. Mm-hmm. Now they know this is a finale. It needs to be longer, so we'll see if they actually deliver on that.
Sandy?
I purposely avoided the trailer. I don't want any spoilers, especially for the last episode. So I got no input on it. But I did hate how short and abrupt this episode was because after Oswald got back up to the streets and then you see some guy call him Penguin. I still love that Oswald still hates that name. I hope he eventually takes on that name at some point. But yeah, he just gets smacked with forget one of those sticks or whatever you call it. He gets smacked, he gets knocked out because Sophia wants him now, and it just ends right there, like just out of nowhere, no climax or anything. So it was kind of sudden, but it is what it is.
In a way, I kind of like that ending because it showed that everything that he was able to claw himself out of the rubble, claw himself out of literal death And then he still got caught. So he still can't escape right now Sophia's wrath. And so I do look forward to that showdown. I don't know what is going to happen. I at this point, I'm going to be honest. I want the mother to remember what Penguin did, and if she does live, her to disown her son by remembering and realizing you killed your brothers. I hate you. I want nothing to do with you. Stay away from me. I think that could be more painful than her actually dying. He becomes and having to she separates from him, having to grow now become Penguin, something that people hate. But what happens if she calls him Penguin? Oh, you're nothing to me. You're a penguin. He's not gonna kill her. And so in a way that's how he takes up the name Penguin. Something that, I hate you. You become what I hated. Well, I guess she's right. I'm gonna become what she hated. I'm the Penguin now. And I'm gonna be even more ruthless. But she doesn't die. I think to me that would be much better than her dying. And I think Sophia would just be in the corner, just cackling. So that could work for me. And we'll have to see. It's a weird thing because I don't. Sophia in a way doesn't want him to die. She wants him to suffer. She said, I want him to feel real pain. And she didn't die, but she died by not dying. And I think that I just don't know what the equivalent of that would be to Penguin. Because we do know that, from my understanding, he does survive, but we don't know if he's mentally survives this thing. But I would love to know what ends up happening. So I guess we'll just have to wait. We got one more week to go. I'm happy they're not doing a break where we have to wait like 2 weeks or something. We have one more week to go, and that'll be that. And then we have June Prophecy, which woohoo. Anyway, so once again, any final thoughts that anyone wants to add really quickly?
Richard?
Oh no. I thought it was a great episode. Looking forward to seeing the finale next week. Yeah, and I definitely want to hear what people think about the episode. So leave your comments. Let us know.
Yes, leave your comments. Let us know what you thought. We still have the interviews from the panels that are on the site. We have the interviews from the roundtables that are on the site as well. And let us know what your thoughts are for this. So once again, I've been your host, Dana, joined by Danny Martinez, Richard Bailey Jr. Thank you for watching us. Have a great day, afternoon, evening, whatever time you're watching this. And see you next week for the finale. Yay!